So it feels like everyone's been talking about the new December patch that just dropped for Sparking Zero, and it's basically described as being the full game experience, and what we've been playing so far has only been the beta. So I decided to try out some characters I don't really use as well and see how the changes feel compared to before. I originally thought that maybe these rarely used characters would be indirectly buffed by the changes and might be good additions to my main DP team, but unfortunately, it didn't really pan out that way. So here's the first match after I updated my game, and so far, as you can tell, it's looking pretty business as usual. Seeing Vidal as the starter for their team pretty much tells me exactly how this guy's going to play and what I might need to do to counter it. Thankfully, in this patch, I heard that not only did they shorten the time for Afterman Strike, but you can also use Perception to counter it. And I just tried using the new low-cost Tree of Might ability just to see if it's more worth it now that it doesn't cost 3. Uh, the few times I played him, it gave a nice enough buff, but it just didn't outshine how his explosive wave would get me out of trouble. So I don't think it's really worth it still. Now, as you've seen there, I wasn't able to stop his Videl from swapping out because for some reason I was key blasting the floor instead of the character literally in front of me. So hopefully they can fix the tracking on key blast this next patch whenever that drops. And now we have this guy, Android 19, one of the most infamous characters in the game at this point. I mean, at least his super armor skill got raised by a point, so I shouldn't be seeing that way too much, even though he just popped it now. And he's not always going to have it this whole match, as you're going to see. Since I know this person isn't really good at this game at this point, I know he's going to get a little grab happy, so all I really need to do is sidestep or mash block when he gets near me. It's not going to be any trouble. So I'm mostly trying out Turles to see if the Tree of Might skill is actually worth using now that it's 1 point cheaper. Before, it had to compete with using your Explosive Wave, which was already cheaper than it and more useful. Now it's about even, and it's alright. It's helpful that, you get a 15-second buff, but, at the cost of 3, it felt like it was really not worth it. Now it's still kinda not worth it, but, if you're really gonna hurt somebody, you might as well do it. Overall, I think I just don't like Turles enough to try and get any better with him. I really don't like how his combos work, and I'm not the biggest fan of his supers, especially since both of them are key blasts, and one of them's not useful at all. And his ultimate does look cool, but it's, I don't think, worth it for the little bit of damage it puts out, and you'll just start all the way over at 0 key. Now, on the exact opposite side of that spectrum, TN, I think he's well worth it, because him and Turles are at the same DP cost. They both cost 4. However, TN, I like his combos. He has great combo potential, and a lot of his moves come out very quickly, and he has pretty decent movement. As you can see right here, I'm sidestepping like crazy, and I'm still able to get some moves in on Android 19. So right here, I thought I was going to be able to get that Tri-Beam off and get some good damage, but I guess my timing's off on it, and I'd go for it again, the Key Blast, after I knock someone away, but I don't know, it might just be a timing thing. Maybe I didn't use the move fast enough or what, but he was able to block both of those. And as you can see, very laggy match, and dude's really trying to cheese me. Just terrible. I'm blocking his grab with my own grab and beat him. And his character's almost out of there, so I think we all know what's going to happen if he loses the character. There we go. Got him out of there, and connection error. Dude left, so that was my first match. And wasn't able to fully complete it, but I got to see 2 cheesy characters, and yeah, I guess it just didn't work out for Homeboy. He had to get out of there. So here's my second match of the day. It was right after the first, rage quit. And I see, oh, cool. Base Goku with the nice fit. Maybe we're gonna get something good going. But as we start, it's very laggy, very jittery, so that's a huge red flag right there. and I'm noticing he's not playing the game. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I guess I'll taunt, and then I'll just take the character out so I can get to my next match. So back to the reasons why I like Tien, I guess. He's really good because you can really catch people off guard. No one really uses Tien, especially at the same 4 DP cost. So I think just off of that, you might have a slight advantage off people just not understanding the matchup or not knowing them. Another good reason is his Dodon Ray is 2 bars, and he starts off with 2 bars, so he's really good. And his Tri-Beam is alright, but it costs 3, and it's, you know, a 2 Ki Blast characters. Like, you don't really need it if you have one good one. I honestly think they could have given Tien like a rush attack super, like Volleyball Fist in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. It could have cost the same amount as a Tri-Beam, but it could have gotten a lot of more combo usage if you have, you know, 1 Ki Blast and 1 rush attack. That's just my opinion though. So right here I noticed, oh, dude's back. Well, let me just feed him some combo fodder so we can start the match off a bit even. Just holding forward on the stick. You know, I can't be disrespectful to him. He's must have been AFK for a reason. Who knows? So I'm just letting him get a bunch of damage on in, about the same as what I did to him. So right about here, I start actually trying to fight back, I think. And I'm noticing like the real flaws in Turles as a character. It's just not worth it to me to really try and get good with him because it's just me getting beat up on. I wasted all of my skill points just right then and there. It didn't really feel worth it because, check it out. Barely getting any damage in. Sonic Sway right here. And I don't know if it was the connection or something, but it felt like my moves are just not really coming through how I wanted them to come through. And here he goes with an actual good power-up. Going Super Saiyan, so I decided to switch out to Tien because I gotta get him out of there. Dude's been doing too much damage to me, so gotta take him out. And you can see, like, game's kind of jittery, kind of jumping a little bit, but it's a little easier to try and take him out with Tien because I guess his playstyle is just better for me. He's trying to go to instant sparking mode, so I just Dodon Ray him while he's open, take him out. Now this really surprised me. People don't really go Imperfect Cell or second form Cell, so I knew he had to at least know a little bit what he's doing. Yeah, I could have just saved my key on that one. Just threw it out for no reason. And right about here, I fail this grapple clash. Don't know what that's called, but I fail this and it basically snowballed into me damn near losing my character. Problem with me in this instance definitely was I was trying to get that anime moment where Tien hits him with his Tri-Beam over and over and over, but I just didn't set it up. I was just really throwing it out there and made way too many mistakes. Yeah, and especially right here, this whole sequence that happens, like, for the next 5 seconds is really just me getting pounded on. Right here, I went a little too close. I was already charging Ki Blast, and I'm like, hey, maybe I can catch him. Absolutely not. So he's going to steal some health and some Ki off of that. Or I guess just health now. So I'm just getting a little bit more damage here. I'm realizing my Tien's getting way too low on health, so I gotta switch him out. Bring back Turles, and this remainder of the fight with Turles really does solidify that I don't want to use this dude, at least not in ranked mode. Right here, I'm using this charge up Ki Blast. What I like to do is, if it's slow, charge it up, use it, then rush in, and hopefully it'll catch up with me mid combo and it'll hit them. but in this instance, it like blew up halfway behind me. And right here, his super just hit the ground instead of the character. So it's like really a wasted key and a waste of time. Could have gotten more punished than I did. And this is pretty funny what happens. I hear him charging up his move, and I'm like, oh, I got time to do something. Didn't realize which Goku it was, so he just instant transmissions, takes me out. Tien comes in with a bit more health. I'm like, maybe I could sneak in a lot more damage, take this Goku out. I see him coming in for another power-up Super Saiyan 3 this time, so I'm like, oh, I gotta turn up so I can take him out. Use Wild Sense so I can get my sparking mode. And another problem with this game that needs to get addressed is about to happen right soon. There it is. I could have had him in my ult, but that invisible wall just really ruined my combo, and I was already committed. I was going to use all my health bar on this just to try and get him as close to death as possible. I wanted to switch him out, as you could see, but just wasn't fast enough. They kind of messed up the instant transmission skills because I was able to lock onto him too fast. Like, that was kind of cheap, to be fair. And we're still stuck on that wall, and it's kind of throwing me off. Really should have taken him out, but, you know, got kicked back. And you really see another problem with this game. It's just the maps. Certain maps is terrible if you're trying to fight, because right around here, I'm going to start getting stuck, and a lot of moves are just going to miss. That also stupid because I grabbed him and the animation was playing. He broke out of it still. Pretty weird. So my first impressions on Super Perfect Cell was, I mean, yeah, he's a high-cost DP character, and I don't know if it's really worth using him. I'd much prefer going to a first form Cell because at least then you have your life drain, you have your transformations that'll give you your health back. And even if you don't want to go all the way perfect when you're second form Cell, you can opt in to use your self-destruct, and that's pretty gimmicky. It can catch people off guard. But I guess that's really because I use that form of Cell more than I've used this one, so maybe if I put more time in and stop making as many mistakes, I can make it work with them. Also, I didn't know until I was recording this video that Cell and Cell were really trash talking each other like crazy, like mid-match. I did not hear that, maybe because I was really getting beat up on, but it's pretty funny. And here I'm expecting, you know what, let's rematch. We're both going to be, you know, starting from scratch, right? Let's do the honorable thing since, you know, I waited for you. You came back. We had it out. He left. It's crazy. That usually always happens because after the first match, I don't know. It's like I'm fighting somebody new, so I don't know how to really get them. But after that first one, I can usually make the comeback and get 2 dubs after that. I guess it was for the best that he left anyway because I had to get Turles out. I had to switch out for King Cold, which honestly, he's one of my favorite characters. Not favorite, but he's in one of my favorite teams, I'll say. Team being, you know, the whole Frieza family. My main is Frieza, any form really, but I like first form and I like his final form from the Namek Saga, only because it has instant sparking and you have the option to transform to 100%, which has 2 unblockable supers and an instant sparking mode as well. And here, I had to bait Homeboy out because I know we were both in sparking mode, and I'm like, oh, if I get him to rush at me, I can immediately do my explosive wave and really do some good damage. Here, I thought I was gonna, I don't know, dash away from it. I didn't even attempt to block or try, like, teleport away from it, but it is what it is. So right here, I'm really just throwing all my options out, and it kind of works into my favor because I tried dashing forward to him, and since I ran out of ki, I was able to actually block his super. And I'm making a lot of mistakes because I'll try and mimic what people do online is, they spam that circle button. They spam perception, and it's like, oh, it usually works for them, so let me try it out. Might work for me. Usually doesn't. I'll get thrown instantly. But, I get King Cold out of there, get my boy Tien in, and instead of hitting Bardock, he just destroys the tree in front of him. And I'm like, well, that really would have helped because that would have stopped the swap. It's not really like it matters because, as you can see, I'm really just getting it in on him because I realize, hey, this is GT Goku, so if I don't stay on top of him, he's going to transform into Super Saiyan 4, and I can't have that, especially with my low DP team. I gotta get better at teleporting those because I'm just too late with my block button on that. I'm easing up a bit on my combos, especially once I find out he has Solar Flare. And it's like, alright, well, I know I can maneuver around and get out of his way so I don't die. And he's, not going to opt into Transformer because he just wasted all his skill points. And in all honesty, like, I'm not bragging, I'm not the best player, but I could tell right off of just how he's playing now that it's not going to be a problem beating him. Especially with that easy combo, just, alright, Wild Sense into a charge. Break his grab. I know we're at the ceiling, so he can't really do too much in the way of running away. I know you noticed the length of the video, and we've only seen his one character, so you already know how this is going to end. And it's pretty weird this being my first impression of the new patch. Like, I'm enjoying playing it, but it seems like the rage quitting problem still hasn't been addressed, and it's more frequent now. Boom, there it is. But that was just my first few matches of the game before I switched out all my characters to at least having some people I'm more familiar with. That video's coming soon, so keep an eye on that. Anyway, if you like the video, comment, subscribe, do your thing. Peace.